Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Mugwump Tower, this is Albatross 1-3, requesting permission to land. Over.
I don't need a computer to tell me how to land a damn airplane.
6.
Heads-up display, check.
5,
Lasers, check.
4,
Particle beam, check.
3,
Photon bolts, check.
2,
Chair control, check.
1.
Let's do it.
Broadcasting from a secret underground location somewhere in Mos Eisley. This is the Docking Bay 77 podcast. Make yourself comfortable. The show is about to start. Hello and welcome to the Docking Bay 77 podcast 200th episode. Yeah! I am the host, fearless leader, editor, producer, and wrangler of cats, Dayton Johnson. Since this is our 200th episode, the format will be a bit different than usual. The first part will be our guests discussing and reflecting on the last 3.5 years, and then we will discuss the movie chosen for this evening. So, first of all, introducing the guests that are joining me this evening, we have Amber Lewis. Hello, Amber.
Hello.
We have Disney John.
Howdy.
We have Liam Lewis.
Look, we all go way back, and I owe you from the thing with the guy in the place, and I'll never forget it.
I've never been to Belize. And joining us as well, Mike Vermillion.
Greetings, everybody.
And Tim Brown.
Hello, hello.
And Robert Burnett.
Hello.
I was really hoping we were going to be able to get 10 people joining me, but oh well. Moving on. So first of all, I want to thank all of our podcast friends and guests that are not present this evening. So bear with me for a few minutes. This is going to take. I want to try not to forget anybody. So first and foremost, I want to thank Jeff Johnson and his crew over at the Film by Podcast. It was Jeff that invited me onto their limited 1986 series to discuss, I believe the first one was Hoosiers was the first one we did. So, and that kind of started me down this path. I really want to thank my hosts, Amber, Disney John, Tim, and Robert. They not only do they take some of the weight off my shoulders, but they bring their own thoughts, opinions, ideas, and personalities to the podcast, making it better. Now, here is a collection of our regular guests that weren't able to make it this evening. So John Wright, Eric Brock, Eric Dirth, Dana Jacobs, Andrew Blakely, JP Peach, Scott Hoffman, David Burns, Wayne Whited, David Wright. Our podcast friends that have been guests, Bill and Jason from the All 80s Movies podcast, John Reed from the 30-something Movie podcast, Russ from the Infectious Groove Music YouTube channel, Lauren from the Beard Owl podcast, Jason and Dee from the Surely Can't Be Serious podcast, and Michael Burgett from the Screen Nerds podcast, which reached out to us, said congrats on 200, and here's to 200 more episodes. Man, that seems like a long time from now. Anyway, Patrick O'Reilly from the Vintage Video podcast, and of course, Van Ellen Plexico of the White Rocket Entertainment podcast. A couple other special guests I'd like to mention, Patrick Albright and Brad Moore, who were on a couple episodes. And a special shout out to one of our regular listeners, Jason Coslet, for messaging his thoughts and compliments on a regular basis. And of course, to all of our other listeners for coming each and every week and listening to what we have to say. I am truly thrilled and thankful for all the people that are involved and what this podcast has become. Making friends with people across the country, the fact that people listen to us in the UK and Australia, in Asia, and South America. It's just a really, really weird and unbelievable feeling. So thank you to everybody for coming back and listening. And thank you to all the guests I previously mentioned and my hosts. If I forgot anybody, I will burn in hell. So, okay. Now it's time for let somebody else talk for a few minutes. I'm going to give everybody a chance to say something. So I'm going to take volunteers to go first. I mean, just Blaine wants to rip the Band-Aid off and to have something to say. Who wants to go first? Oh, Tim's waving his hand. You might want to unmute your microphone first.
I know how to work a mute button.
Yeah, so do I. Watch this. No, I'm kidding.
No. Wow, man. Starting off violent. I was thinking back. What's been going through my mind leading up to this is just wow, 200 episodes. How did we get here? And I was thinking back, and I don't know if you remember this. You probably do, Dayton. But you and I were with our good pal Mr. Brock on his YouTube channel for a little
Right.
series that was called "The Opinionated Musings of."
Right.
And I was watching back the first episode that he and I did when it was just the two of us, and then you came in and we did our top 5 drummers
Right.
that episode. I was watching that earlier, so yeah, I just thought about wow, that was kind of like the precursor to this.
True. That's very true.
It definitely spiraled straight out of control from there over to here. So it's been a fun ride, is my roundabout message I'm getting to.
Awesome. Yeah, I was thinking about our top 5 albums from the 70s because we're getting ready to discuss one of those albums, Go By Yellow Brick Road. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, fantastic. All right. Disney John.
All right, so here we go. I have some thoughts. Sorry,
hurt
I'm on
yourself.
the wrong tab. I have since this morning. So honestly, I can't believe I've been involved with the podcast since episode 82. Now I know it was a little before that, but I started making notes at episode 82, which is when we took over and started like tracking everything in a database. And that was back in 2023, and we're getting close to halfway through 2025, which is kind of frightening all at the same time. And we're 200 episodes in, and I have loved every minute of it. Like I've truly loved like talking with everybody, getting to meet some new people, music, which has never been my biggest forte, but now I listen to music in a slightly different fashion now because it's like not with a critical ear, but I definitely listen to it differently than I have in the past. I definitely watch movies way differently than I ever have before. I'm like much more critical of what I'm watching and how it flows. And it's really it's definitely been a boon in my life, and I've enjoyed doing this and making sure that the word gets out that physical media is better than streaming media. I have had the Kool-Aid. I am there. It's happening.
I love that. All right. Who's the next victim? All right, Robert.
What a surprise. I mean, I remember vividly you and I and Amber talking about West Side Story,
Right.
and thinking, wow, this is fun, but one and done. And who knew it would consume so much of my time for the next 3 years? The viewing, the notes, the research. Anyway, no, it's been fantastic. It has always been one of my favorite things to nerd out about movies and books and things that I enjoy with friends and talk about them, or surprise people with stuff maybe they don't know about, or to start my own list of things I need to watch or listen to that I wouldn't have known about otherwise. So that part has been fantastic. And although I know that it makes for really tough editing, my favorite moments have been the disagreements, much more than when we're all unanimous about how much we like something. When someone says, I love it too. Isn't it great? We love it. To me, that is not compelling listening. When you get, I don't know, Pleasantville or some other topic coming up, and there's a lot of voices in the room all at the same time, loudly, that to me is a lot of fun. But again, apologies, Dayton, for having to sort it later.
Oh, that's all right. I asked for it. So anyway.
Yeah, you're the one who invited Amber.
Oh!
Shots fired.
Thunder.
Keep with that Vegas theme. We have our celebrity roast going on tonight. I love this. This is fun.
All right, Mike, I think you had your hand up too. Well, go ahead.
So it's been crazy to think that you have done 200 episodes, and I never thought that we would get to this point. I mean, I think that we probably would have, but it's just so quickly and so fast and overwhelming to think about. You were discussing we're getting listeners over all the continents, with the exception of Antarctica, which we can work on that.
Yes, we can.
We'll see what's up. Yeah, there might be a research center down there that might pick us up one day or something. But yeah, like everybody said, I look at movies and listen to albums differently now because of the way that people have discussed things, and I appreciate
was also mentioned, the different opinions that are brought up, because sometimes you look at things with a different set of eyes, and then you can go back and watch a movie and get a totally different experience out of it. And I'm grateful that I get to be part of this, because again, it's enlightening, and I enjoy it a lot, and it gives me a chance to hang out with some of my old buds as well too.
Right? Fantastic. All right, Amber.
I was looking back through all of the episodes, that we've done. I was just kind of scrolling through Spotify, and the thing that I love is that we're all over the map. Like, there is no one defining thing about this podcast. Like, we're talking about everything, and everyone is just so enthusiastic and so passionate about the things that they like and the things that they don't like. And kind of piggybacking on what Robert said, like, my favorite memories are, just the cacophony of all of us laughing together and just having a good time, whether we're laughing at each other or with each other. Equal measure, a really, really great experience. So I've just had an incredible amount of fun, and looking forward to 200 more, maybe. Let's see how our stamina goes.
Right? I'm just happy to know that I've changed your mind in a couple of films. So I call those wins.
I mean, just last week I listened to the solo episode and rewatched it and was like, well, it's not garbage. So it's fun that things that like that can still happen.
Right? Yeah, like I said, I call that a win.
Yes, that's like 3 or 4 for you, I think.
I know, right?
And I think the listeners at home don't realize that Dayton, Amber, Robert, and I are really close together, and what you hear on the podcast is the same that you would hear literally of us sitting at a table.
Yes,
like it would be exactly the same.
The music episodes, this is pretty much what Dayton and I did all through late high school and college years. This was driving back and forth to McDonald's to go to work. What we would do by swapping tapes out in the tape deck in the car, and these were the conversations we had.
Yes, very much so. Hanging out at WWM, talking about different stuff there. Yeah, I know.
Yep.
It's fantastic. All right, Liam.
As the youngest member of the team, I've enjoyed. I was listening to you guys put out episodes and just sitting there going, man, they're having so much fun. When do I get to go to the cool kids table? And then finally, I believe my first episode was top 7 sci-fi TV shows.
That's correct.
And I really enjoyed like getting to be the newcomer and always learning new things on this podcast, but also like getting to also be smart and like defend Treasure Planet and Atlantis: The Lost Empire. And I loved one of my favorites is the Jimi Hendrix album.
Electric Ladyland, yeah.
That Electric Ladyland was a hell of a ride, and so I really enjoyed getting to be just as respected as anybody else. Like I get to be smart when I'm smart, and you guys bust my chops when you think I'm wrong. We have fights just like anybody else, and I enjoy being a part of the team.
One of my favorite things, Liam, has been having you and Disney John as our guinea pigs for the underrated bands.
I will tell you that has been an amazing thing for me, because I have started listening to bands that I never listened to before. So like in my daily plays or stuff like that, like my playlists have shifted completely away. Well, not away from Weird Al Yankovic to, other musicians now.
The amount of new music I've gotten from those underrated bands, like Great Big Sea alone has made it well for me.
Amen.
So I can't wait for the next underrated bands.
The left turns in those episodes are just beautiful to behold.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Liam still has one of my favorite lines from a podcast episode. It was in the very first one when Tim was talking smack about Poison, saying the one album was the only listenable album from Poison, and Liam's response, "Oh, Tim's sneaking a dagger to the ribs."
Oh yeah,
that was great. I love that.
That was a good line. I forgot about that.
It was great. It was very funny. Eric took offense, but it was great. It was fun. He was like,
I
"Oh,
mean,
come
it
on!"
was true.
It was
It was
true.
an honest statement.
Yes, it was. All right, fantastic. So once again, I just want to thank everybody, and especially my regular hosts and my regular guests and everybody that's been on the podcast, people that share the podcast and comment and talk to us. So that's always great. Take a second here. I'm gonna drop. So a couple people couldn't make it, and they sent us some messages they want to hear. They want us to hear from them. So we'll be right back after their couple of comments.
I would just love to say that I have been a fan of the Docking Bay 77 podcast since I learned about it years ago. And I'm honored to have been invited onto it, not once, but twice or multiple times. And so if you are looking for a good podcast about music, television, movies, I cannot highly recommend Docking Bay 77 enough, because it will satisfy all of your little nerdy itches.
Oh, hey there. Didn't see you come in. Don't mind me. I'm just sketching and plotting world domination. I'm kidding. I'm not sketching. Hey, this is John from JW Art Studios, and I just want to give a big shout out to my buddies here at Docking Bay 77 podcast on their 200th episode. We've been talking about movies and music and pop culture for a really long time, kids. We're old and we're still doing it. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for letting me be a part of this. And here's to 200 more. And do me a favor, write in and pester Dayton. We need to do a Lost Boys and a Kiss Meets the Phantom episode really, really soon. Help a brother out. Peace out.
All right.
God, can you believe he said that? Jesus, that's terrible.
Well, you know,
The nerve of that guy.
right? All right, fantastic. So does anybody else have anything to say before we go ahead and move on to the film portion of this episode?
Oh wait, there's a movie tonight?
Yes, there is.
Oh,
Are you ready?
Okay. Well, let's hope so. See if I can steal one from the jaws of defeat.
Right. That's the best lift you made all day. All right.
Thank you.
Fantastic. All right. Let's get into the movie for our 200th episode. We are discussing the remake from director Steven Soderbergh, Ocean's 11.
It's never been done before. What's the target? When was the last time you were in Vegas? You want to knock over a casino. 3 casinos? Vegas, huh?
Vegas?
Vegas.
Fantastic. The heist is impossible.
Casino security cannot be beaten. You're out of your minds.
Exactly.
You are up to something, Danny. What? You're pulling a job, aren't you? You're a thief and a liar.
I only lied about being a thief.
You're gonna need a crew as nuts as you are. Who do you got in mind?
Smash and grab job, huh? Slightly more complicated than that.
Say we get down the elevator we can't move, and past the guards with the guns, and into the vault we can't open. We're just supposed to walk out of there with $150 million in cash.
Yeah.
Oh. But these guys...
That is the sexiest thing I have ever seen.
...are just crazy enough.
You'd need at least a dozen guys doing a combination of cons.
Do you understand any of this?
I'll explain later.
...to pull off the con...
Someone called for a doctor?
...of the century.
We're set. We're set.
We're set.
Do it already.
Well, did you check the batteries? Congratulations. You're a dead man.
George Clooney, Matt Damon, Andy Garcia, Brad Pitt, and Julia Roberts.
Why do this? Why not do it?
From the Academy Award-winning director of Traffic and Erin Brockovich.
Because the house takes you. Unless, when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big, and then you take the house. Been practicing this speech, hadn't you? A little bit. Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed it. That was good. I liked it.
Ocean's 11.
You're either in or you're out. I'm staying in.
All right. Time for opening thoughts on the film. First time seeing it. Was this a rewatch? like it, yes or no? And if you've seen it before and a rewatch, has your opinions changed? Anything else? Let's just go in alphabetical order. Amber, you get to go first.
This is like the millionth rewatch for me.
Same.
This movie is on heavy rotation. I could not wait for it when it came out in the theaters.
Yeah, me too.
What was super excited, and kind of surprised because Steven Soderbergh is usually a little bit of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And so for him to make a movie that's just like pure joy from start to finish. And I love a good heist. I love the planning. I love everybody being good at different things. And I love that they have their own like language that you don't really understand, but like it makes sense anyway. So yeah, we quote this movie all the time. And yeah, I didn't need to rewatch it for this, but you know, we did just because.
I've watched it 5 times the last week and a half. So,
right?
just because I can. Just because I can. All right. Let's see. Who's next? Disney John.
Oh, okay. Disney John. That's me. I do not remember when I first watched this, but I remember enjoying it the very first time I ever did. And during the rewatch that I had this past week, it's still good. I mean, it's a good movie. I don't know what else. I mean, I've never seen a more star-studded cast. I mean, honestly, it is packed from beginning to end with nothing but stars. Nobody's trying to hog the spotlight. It was just an enjoyable heist movie.
And they all took pay cuts to keep the budget down, which I appreciate.
Oh,
they all wanted to work
I read
together.
that. That was amazing.
Yeah, they all wanted to work together. So I love that.
Did you heard that Julia Roberts got a $20 bill attached to hers because George Clooney said, "Hey, so I hear you make 20 a film now, so here you go."
Yeah, and they had actually never met until they started shooting the movie. So he sent the copy of the screenplay to her with a $20 bill on it. Yeah, because she became at that point she was the highest paid actress in Hollywood. So, but yes, fantastic. All right, Mike Vermillion.
So I can't remember when I first watched it. I think it was one of the cable movie channels, possibly. I liked it the first time I watched it. I was really into the entire cast. I thought, wow, what a great ensemble of actors. I think it was cast really well. Coming back and watching it, there's a couple things that actually I didn't catch, and I'm glad that I got to rewatch it.
Okay.
I did watch the original today as well too, just to kind of prep for this.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and so it's weird how the two are not alike at all.
No,
and it's in Vegas,
right?
And they did have a good ensemble of actors or celebrities for the first one as well too. But yeah, I like this movie a lot. Coming back to watch it again, it's just smooth and it's a good heist film. It's got all the elements that we want in a good heist film and stuff like that. So, I'm glad that we got to come back to this and watch it again.
Cool. Liam Lewis.
So I remember this being one of those movies that was kind of always on around the house. And then I finally got to the age where like I was cognizant enough to actually watch it. And I remember it being really distinct because, up until then, I've been watching like either kids' adventures or like action movies. So this was really the first movie where like the dialogue was really what was key. I remember this being one of the first really smart films, so to speak, where it's about a lot of wordplay, it's about a lot of fast dialogue, it's about a lot of plot points getting thrown at you, and it's about just this brilliant magic trick effect that you get in any good heist movie. And I always worry every time I'm going to rewatch it, like, oh, is it still going to be as smart as it was when I first watched it? And it never lets me down. I always worried it's going to be dated somehow. It's never. I love this movie, and it never ceases to amaze me with its intelligence and sharpness.
Love it. All right, Robert.
This was my first time. Somehow I missed it when
Really?
it came out. Yeah, missed
Wow.
it completely and just never circled back to it. I was trying to figure out why. And it did come out in December, and being a longtime retail person, I may just have been too busy that time of year to get out and see it. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was really fun. Like Amber, I really enjoy a good heist movie. But this to me was not. I mean, I love The Sting and To Catch a Thief. I even love The Great Muppet Caper. I will watch any of those again. And this was fun, but I did not feel compelled to like hit replay as soon as it was over. For those of my little tiny fan club within this podcast, I'm going to get my obligatory Broadway reference out of the way right now.
Oh, congratulations, sir!
I know you're gonna when viewership just plummets in the next 3 minutes, Dayton down the road, you'll see that there are those who listen. No, fun fact: Ted Griffin, who wrote the screenplay of this movie, was Mr. Sutton Foster for about 10 years until she dumped him for Hugh Jackman. Right. So, I mean, I don't know who wouldn't, but anyway.
I was going to say, can't really blame her.
But, yeah, well, right, that's fair.
But anyway, yeah. So I can bring Broadway into everything, and it even fits with this one. So there you have it. But no, it was fun. I'm glad I saw it. I don't know that it will be something I will watch immediately, but I enjoyed it. So thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. All right, Mr. Brown.
So I'm already out of my depth on this episode because I'm the music guy, not the movie guy. But I had seen this one before. What'd you say, Amber?
There's good music in this movie.
There is good music in this movie. That's right. Yeah. But I'm not the movie buff that the rest of you lot are. I enjoy them, but I don't do the same thing with movies that I do with music. Let's say it that way. But I had seen this one before, but it had been a long time. I actually think I'd seen Ocean's 12 probably far more often and more recently than I had seen this one. So I did have to go back and rewatch this one and refresh my memory on it. Like I literally went, oh crap, I forgot Julia Roberts in this. You know? Whoops. That was how foggy my memory of the first watching of it was. But yeah, this is like everybody else. I love a great heist movie. I really feel like this may have been, if it's not the prototype for the current version of a heist movie, it feels like it was pretty early on in the resurgence of that.
Right.
And you know, I'll get into the other stuff I like about that later when we get to those sections. But yeah, long time since I saw it the first time, and forgot a whole lot about it on the rewatch.
So similar to Amber, I was very excited when this was coming out. At this point, I was already a fan of Soderbergh. I'd seen his previous films and was looking forward to this because the cast alone, and you add the director, and I'm like, yes, I'm there. Now, I saw this in the theater, and I saw it multiple times in the theater because at this point, I lived 5 minutes away from my job. And I was the manager. So anytime things went wrong, they called me, and my stupid ass always went back to help. So I got in the habit of going home, changing clothes, and calling movie phone and deciding what I was going to see. It literally got to the point to where I would go to the theater and go, seen it, don't want to see it. So I'm going to see something again. Ocean's 11 was one of those films I saw again and again. So as soon as it hit DVD, I bought a copy, and it's sitting right here next to me. The film is great. I had so much fun. I wanted to be able to dress like George Clooney in this film because he looked awesome. I wanted to be just either a tenth as cool as these guys in this movie are. And, you know, and it was just like, I just loved everything about it. And I always really appreciate smart criminals because I am so sick of seeing dumb criminals in movies that get away with shit. So seeing really cool, smart criminals, I was all in. And not only that, it was just super fun to watch. And I've probably seen it 50, 60 times somewhere. I can't even keep track anymore. But in the last few weeks, yes, I've watched at least 5 times just because I wanted to, and we're going to talk about it. So I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So yes, love this movie. It popped into my head like 2 months ago. That's what we're going to talk about for our 200th episode. So here we are. All right. Anything else anybody wants to say before we move on?
You were like Basher. You were relieved to be working with proper villains again.
Yes.
Well, I gotta say, I just watched Goodfellas for the first time recently.
Okay.
The same way you watch Goodfellas and you want to be a gangster, you watch this movie, you want to be a con man.
I'd rather be a con man than a murderous gangster, but whatever. Never understood that. I once knew somebody who said, I would totally, like, it was a girl I knew. She's like, I would totally date a gangster. I'm like, okay, we're not friends anymore. So moving on.
No shade thrown for him not seeing it before now? Really? Okay.
I mean, go ahead.
It's a
You throw
big
all the shade you
world,
want.
and there are a lot of things that I have to introduce him to. Okay,
That's okay. I'm just
getting
like,
down the list.
I mean, every time I say I haven't seen something, you guys are just like down my throat going like,
Yeah, but you're
Yeah, but
100.
you're an
He's only
old
20.
man. Like, he's only
Come on.
25.
You've had so many years on this earth. What's your excuse?
Whatever.
Just got here.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm married. I have children. Whatever. Yeah, I don't have any time for anything else.
I'm Luke Skywalker. You're Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, you've been through Order 66, my dude. You've had time.
I accept that analogy, sir.
Jesus, don't feed his ego. Come on, Liam.
Now I gotta leave the door. Oh no, the door is small.
Oh,
Sorry.
all right.
Go ahead, Dayton. What's next?
That's the fact, Jack! That's the fact, Jack!
It's time for That's the Fact, Jack. These are some film facts about Ocean's 11. Released December 7th, 2001. Directed by Steven Soderbergh, who did Out of Sight, Aaron Brockovich, which, by the way, we reviewed on this podcast. Magic Mike and Logan Lucky, just to name a few of his films. Screenplay by Ted Griffin, who did Ravenous, Best Laid Plans, Matchstick Men, and Rumor Has It. Based on the original Ocean's 11 from 1960, was written by Harry Brown, Charles Lederer, George Clayton Johnson, and Jack Golden Russell. Produced by Jerry Weintraub, who does appear in the film as one of the high rollers. Starring Don Cheadle, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Matt Damon, Carl Reiner, Elliot Gould, Scott Conn, Casey Affleck, Bernie Mac, Andy Garcia, with cameos from Holly Marie Combs, Topher Grace, Joshua Jackson, Barry Watson, Shane West, Siegfried and Roy, Wayne Newton, Henry Silva, and Angie Dickinson. The last two actually appeared in the original film. Some casting what ifs. This was very interesting. Johnny Depp and Mark Wahlberg were both considered for the part of Linus that went to Matt Damon. Luke and Owen Wilson and Joel and Ethan Coen were considered for the Malloy twins. Mike Myers, Bruce Willis, Ewan McGregor, Alan Arkin, Ray Fiennes were all considered for different roles, but turned them all down. Later, Bruce Willis will admit that he regretted turning down the part of Terry Benedict. A budget of $85 million. Box office, $450 million. The success led to two direct sequels, Ocean's 12 and Ocean's 13, starring mostly the original cast, and a spin-off film, Ocean's 8, an all-female cast starring Sandra Bullock as Danny Ocean's sister, Kate Blanchett, Helena Bonham Carter, Anne Hathaway, Sarah Paulson, Rihanna, Mindy Kaling, and Awkwafina all starred in that film.
And it's almost better than this one.
Yeah,
it's
I was
not.
gonna say that.
I was
Yeah,
waiting
really
for,
good.
I was waiting for Amber to say something.
Well, I
Really good.
begged to do that one instead of this one.
Oh, just wait till the end when I tell you the movie that I would have preferred to do. Go ahead.
Jesus. Anyway, all right. Does anybody have any trivia they want to share about the film before we move on?
I do.
Okay.
Don Cheadle was an uncredited, despite having a major role in the film, and it was due to a dispute over where his billing was going to be. And he finally said, "Fine, screw it. Don't put me in the don't put my my title or my credit in the film." And so he's uncredited in this entire film until the second film when they said, "Okay, yeah, you can go above the title."
Yeah.
I was like, "What the hell?" Like, I mean, he's like a major player in the troupe, and I was like shocked that he wasn't. Like shocked. So
I mean,
thought
you
that
could
was
have put them
interesting.
all above the title. Like,
Oh, I with all the stardom that was there, yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. But I was shocked that one of the main players for the thing was like not even credited in the film. Period. He's just not credited.
they should have just done alphabetical.
Right. Well, that's why I put his name first, just because. Yes. So it was actually, it was dispute, and later they got it fixed, and he actually gets credit for the sequels. So,
Yes.
All right. Any other trivia? Yes.
I love this detail because I love when the realism of making a film sneaks its way into the film itself.
Oh.
So, the whole gang, Brad Pitt's character in particular, would be so busy that they would rarely be able to eat. So, Brad Pitt just started sneaking snacks onto the set, and so they wrote into the film that Rusty would just be eating all the time. And this ends up leading to a very humorous punchline at the end of the movie where he's standing outside of the prison waiting to pick Danny up again, and he gets heartburn from like the Egg McMuffin or whatever sandwich he's eating, and he just goes ugh, and like throws it out because he's been eating the entire film, and finally like he's got heartburn. So I
Yes.
just similar to Tony Stark and his blueberries in the first Avengers. I love that moment of like, I'm gonna eat, and you can either edit it out in post or write it into the character. It's your choice.
That line, "I hope you were the groom," was actually thought up on that day on the set by Steven Soderbergh, and I think it's great. And the comeback about
Him coming out in the tux.
yeah. Well, and then the comeback about Ted Nugent wants his shirt back. So I love that too.
Yeah,
because it's very true. It just looks like a Ted Nugent shirt. So fantastic. Something I do want to mention, apparently Jerry Weintraub is friends with the owner of the Bellagio casino. So they actually were able to shoot in the actual casino. Because of this, I believe it was Pitt or Clooney, one of the two, kept calling Weintraub the Pope of Las Vegas. And during production, they actually got to stay at the Bellagio as well. So, gee.
They each got 7,000 square foot villas is what they got.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
What a rough life that their house is 5 times the size of my house. That's great.
Right? And they got paid to stay there. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anybody else have any trivia before we move on?
I just love the little detail. The fountain scene at the end was taken from The Right Stuff.
Okay.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
At the end of The Right Stuff, the astronauts are watching a dancer perform to Claire de Lune. And during the performance, they all just kind of look at each other and smile because no one else in that room knows what that experience was like except them, to go into space.
Yeah.
And this is the same kind of moment where they're listening to the same piece of music and watching the fountain and just kind of like nobody else will ever know what that's like except for these, 11 guys.
Right. That's cool. Yeah, actually, that was the last. The scene in front of the fountain was the last shot they did because Soderbergh encouraged everybody to hang out together to build that camaraderie and friendship. So yeah, it was kind of cool because you can kind of tell that they'd been together, and that was nice little, because that's the end of we see most of those characters is at the fountain. So very cool. All right, anything else? Yes, Liam.
I mentioned Goodfellas, and similar to Spider getting shot in the foot and then getting to shoot someone else in the foot in turn in The Sopranos, Billy Tim Denham, like the Gene, that actor gets his hand hurt during the strenuous negotiations over the vans.
Right.
He is the same actor who gets his hand bashed in with a hammer because he's cheating at a blackjack table in another Martin Scorsese movie, Casino.
Very good. Nice.
He's a hand actor then on top of his other.
Apparently so.
Hand stunt performed by Joe.
Right. Love it. All right. Let's go ahead and move on.
That was totally wicked!
It's time for That Was Totally Wicked. These are things we love about the film. So we'll start off with one each, and then we'll come back around. Amber, you're first.
George and Brad.
Yes.
Their chemistry is perfection. I love the way they talk over each other's lines. You absolutely believe that these guys have been friends and, colleagues or whatever you call it when you're a criminal, for decades. And, they have that sort of unspoken dialogue, especially like in the scene where they, take the teen idols down in the card game.
That's such a great scene.
They're
Love it.
totally like talking without talking, and it's just amazing. And that's not easy to come up with. So that just makes the movie so enjoyable.
Yeah, the scene at the elevator after they get the plans for the it's like, why do this and don't say money? And he's like, he does that whole speech and he goes, "You've been practicing that speech?" He goes, "Yeah, did I rush it? No, it sounded great." It's just so fun. It's like, why do this? Because I love it. He goes, because I just lost 4 years of my life and you're cold decking Teen Beat cover boys. I'm just like,
well, and I love the scene in the bar where Brad's just like watching TV.
Yes, with his head on his with his head down.
One more? You think we need one more?
Right.
Okay, we'll get one more.
And then
And
after he
Brad
says,
like never moves.
he just blinks after he says, we'll get one more. Then he blinks. That's the only thing he does the entire time. Love it.
Otherwise, there is no reaction whatsoever.
It's great. It's so great. So great. All right. Disney John, something you love about the film.
I love the Malloy brothers because if you watch the movie closely, they are everywhere. They're pushing
Yes,
a
they
cart
are.
in one scene, then they go to another scene, and then they're like dressed differently. Like they are used. Oh my God, they're used a lot in this movie, and yet you don't. I mean, if you're not paying attention, you won't realize it. But it is hysterical to watch them in the backgrounds of some of the scenes where they're like pushing that cart through the casino, or they're like driving the trucks out of town. Like it was just driving me crazy because I was like, wait a minute, that's them again.
And
Wait,
I
they're
don't know
there
if
again.
any of you have brothers, but I have two brothers, and that's what they're like.
That's exactly what they do.
This is 100% reality.
100%.
Yeah. The screenwriter said he based all those arguments on actual arguments he had with his own siblings. So
that's amazing. Well, because it feels like it. Because I mean, my brother and I would do stupid shit like that all the time, and it was great. But just watching them as part of a heist gang, and then doing their little jobs, and then moving trucks and moving vans and doing stuff, and they're always there. They're always in the scene somewhere.
They play so many characters.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. So I like the Malloy brothers were like some of my standouts, because I was gonna say like George, because I mean like George and Pitt were great, but like these two guys were just astounding because they were like literally in every scene, it felt like, and yet they're not having a really big speaking part. Like it was great. I enjoyed them.
These guys were still really working for their money though, because if you look at a movie like Coming to America where Arsenio and Eddie Murphy are playing like 15 roles each in there. These guys are hanging. That they are playing everybody.
Yes, they are. It was great. Yeah, I love their one that Scott Conn wears, the motorcycle jacket, and it's just like you can tell what they're into. Like the very first time we meet them, when I want that remote control truck, because I just want something that remote control car that goes that fast, and then have my brother.
And then he rolls over at the end and looks at his brother like,
which is just
like, yes,
so
that's
funny.
what a brother does.
That's exactly what my brother would have done.
Around at the end, it's part of the heist. Like it's not just some stupid shit they were doing.
Yeah, right. I know. See, so smart. I love this. Okay. All right, Liam.
I'm gonna throw one out to the editing. I think this is a spectacularly edited film. Everybody, this film popularized the so-called Soderbergh panels,
right?
Where sliding everything all around like a comic book, and that is so choice, and I love that. But like, not just that, the editing as a whole, the film is very, very smart at it's so dialogue heavy. So you don't want your editing to be too much of telling the audience rather than showing them. So like with the end reveal of what the heist really is, Soderbergh was very careful with his editing to show you just enough rather than holding your hand and telling you everything. Like, we are considered just as smart as the characters he's writing, and I appreciate that.
Right. Very good. All right, Mike.
I like the background music a lot in this movie. I think that it added to it. It never detracts from it. I also love the chemistry of this incredible cast. None of them overacted or tried to outshine the others. It just, they all were popular and famous, but they weren't quite at the epoch of their, the top of their careers. So obviously they went and made sequels and stuff like that, but just to get that group of actors to gel, to me is phenomenal, and it made it such a pleasurable experience.
Yeah, Clooney was trying to make up for Batman and Robin still, so.
Ouch.
Now that's not fair. He's a really good Bruce Wayne.
So he actually credits that film for making him make better choices in his roles. And if you look after that, he definitely did that. So
fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like,
he didn't take the Sean Connery school of accepting roles.
Yeah, right. He's like, no, I'm never doing that again. And we're glad he didn't. So fantastic. All right, Tim, something you love about the film?
Kind of piggybacking off of the editing and kind of the movie as a whole. I love that everything fits together like such an intricate puzzle. There's nothing in the movie that's really wasted or not followed up on in some way later. I mean, it's almost as if they had messed up in the editing and just cut like one little thing out, the rest of the movie's going to fall apart because everything is so intricate.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's one of those that as you watch it, because whenever time I watch it, I'm like going, man, I wish I could write something this smart. just and the way they answer all the questions, and you never once go, well, how did they get that money, or how did they get all those chips, or when they talk about why are we building a copy of the vault and stuff like that. Like they set up all these things, and you're trying to figure out what they're up to, and then it pays off at the end. Like even the whole thing with Tess and and Danny, you're thinking it's a real issue, and then at the end it was like, nope, that was all staged just for the benefit of Linus. And I think that's just great because we bought into it too, and I think that's fantastic. So, all right, Robert, something you love about the film?
I kind of what everybody's saying. I love the plotting and the construction of the script and the pacing because it's super, super dense and there's a lot going on. And it would be easy to be confused or not feel like you were in strong hands that knew what they were doing. And it's just so well put together, and both the script, the editing, all of it, that you're always kind of one step behind because you're trying to figure out how it all works. But everything is clear. You don't ever feel completely like lost or why am I watching this? Or you know that you are going to get something right. And I thought that was fantastic. And then because I'm such a fan of old movies, I loved most about this was the star power. The old movies have genuine star power where Cary Grant comes on, and it doesn't matter if he can act or not. He's Cary Grant, and you know what you're getting, and you just love it, and he just can make anything work. Ingrid Bergman, a lot of them. And this movie with so many out and out stars, it was great to see that. It's nice sometimes to have somebody who is a star and just sort of riffing on that versus maybe a Daniel Day-Lewis who has to actually amputate his foot or whatever. And so Clooney and company in this, Brad Pitt, I almost feel like they could have just kind of like shown up, glanced at the script and just done it because they're charming and they're easy to watch and they have incredible star power. And that's something that modern movies have really gotten away from that I miss from back in the day. And but this movie leaned into it in a really nice way.
Agreed. And I do like the fact that Soderbergh continued working with a lot of these actors over and over again. Obviously, they did the sequels, but he'd already worked with Cheadle and Clooney in Out of Sight. He worked with Roberts and Aaron Brockovich. So he obviously felt comfortable with a lot of these people and kept doing films with them. And you could tell that it worked well because it seemed like they're just having such a good time on the screen. And along with the writing and the chemistry, the first scene we have with Danny and Tess in the restaurant, oh my God, that is just awesome. The way the exchanges back and forth, and he's like, I'm not joking. She's like, I'm not laughing, Danny. It's just the way they're talking back and forth. You're like, you can totally believe they are exes. Just the way they are going at each other. It's just awesome. So, yes, everything that's been said, I want to call out one particular person that has not really been mentioned at all, and that's Andy Garcia. Now, Andy Garcia is one of those actors that, I've seen him in a lot of things, and I never really said, oh, Andy Garcia is in this, so I'm going to watch this. But he really did such a great job creating this character of Carrie Benedict. For everything he does is so purposeful. His walk, oh my God, that walk is worth $1 million because it's so ridiculous, but at the same time, you don't want to mess with him. Everything he does, like just his looks, his expressions, his gestures, like when he leaves Zerga, Reiner's character, when they're at the fight, they're like, okay, here's where your briefcase is going to go. And he says, don't let me keep you. And he walks out. He pushes the door open with his right arm and then leaves it hang in the air, just, because he's just like a little bit angry as he takes like 3 or 4 steps. Just a little thing like that he thought of, it was his idea, but it makes sense with that character. And the fact that he is really the villain in this film. The guys that are stealing from him are their heroes, and he's the villain, I think is great. And he really does a great job making us not like him, because he won't even kiss his girlfriend in the hotel because there's cameras. I'm like, what kind of a sick bastard are you? So anyway, just, and he bankrupts that one guy's brother's tractor, dealership because he stole from him. I'm just like, he's terrible. So I mean, he was great, and I want to make sure that he gets mentioned because in a cast this big, and he's really not, he's not the one we're watching for, but he did a great job and had to hold his own against a huge cast of characters. So I want to make sure he got some love.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Dayton, because one of the strengths of the movie is that we've got a guy that we really want to root for our team against. Otherwise, if you don't have a strong villain in a movie like this, the whole heist, everything, it's really just kind of like an exercise. Can we do it? Can we get away with it? But you introduce this guy, and now we've got some stakes. Now we've got somebody to root against, and he really helps us. Really, it's a great focus for everybody to be competing against this guy.
Right. And they even set it up at the very beginning when he meets with Frank at the lounge at Caesar, and he's reading about how the hotel's going to get raised and everything. And that's the plan. It's like, we already know this, and they use Terry Benedict against Ruben, and just apparently this guy has a long list of enemies. So
yep,
we already don't like him, before we even have him say one word. So
it's great. That's the real genius of that performance too, is that like this guy has been built up throughout the entire movie as like the Count of Monte Cristo, Emperor Palpatine, like the most evil person in Sin City, Las Vegas. Like, he's the most cruel and wicked man on earth. Like, he'll kill you and then he'll go to work on you. So with
Right.
all of that buildup, if you don't have a worthy payoff, the whole movie just completely falls flat. And so, like, Andy Garcia is really the unsung hero. Like, he's our like support structure for this entire picture, really.
Right. Yeah, because if we like him, then we don't really want them to rob him. So
exactly. Like,
I had watched the first one today as well too, and I think that was one of the elements. I was watching the first one. I was like, man, there's no like bad guy to root against in the first one. They're robbing 5 casinos, and you want them to win and pull the robbery off because that's what they do. But to have this villain so intricately played and written in to where, yes, you were rooting against him once you found out what a peckerhead he was. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
You got to have that Gene Hackman from Unforgiven energy.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Does anybody else have anything they want to mention, something they love before we move on? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to mention their clothes. There's that saying that clothes make the man, and in this film, that is extremely true. Everybody's wardrobe really reflects the personality of the person wearing them. Clooney is a good example. He's sleek, modern, with a touch of traditional. Sometimes he's wearing a tie, sometimes he's not, but he's always wearing the nice shirt with the coat on, and he always looks great. Pitt, stylish, very LA, and a little bit of touch of the 70s. They even make a joke about it later with the Ted Nugent shirt. Reiner looks like he is a retiree from Florida. Damon looks like a college student, from Chicago. Gould totally embodies of that guy that is rich and kind of left over from the 70s. He's got the robe open and all the jewelry and everything, and then everything else he has.
I think he based that on his like Russian Jewish grandfather as well.
I have no doubt. So I mean,
there's another layer of authenticity to that.
Yes. Well, he has the scarf, and he's just always. And I love his character anyway because he's kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to call him the patriarch, but he kind of is. He's the one that tells Linus to get in the goddamn house. So he's great. He's fun, and he's just there to pay for everything.
Yeah.
That's what's fantastic. So I really love the outfits. Like I mentioned before, Scott Conn was wearing leather jacket that's very, like a motorcycle jacket, and so he's into vehicles and into motorcycles and cars or whatever. So they did such a great job making sure everybody looked like they were, like, you didn't, even if they didn't utter a word, you knew something about them. So I thought that was a great touch. So I don't know his name here, but the one that did the wardrobe actually appears in the film. He's one of the two guys dressing Saul in the shop. So he does appear in the film.
Well, he deserves it because he works hard.
He does. All right, let's go ahead and move on.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
It's time for No Sir, I Didn't Like It. These are things we don't like or don't work within the film. I do have a few things, but I'm going to let Amber go first.
I only have one, and it's a little nitpicky thing, but I love and adore Julia Roberts, but the woman has the most ungainly walk of any person I've ever seen in my entire life. And the fact that they hinged her entrance on her like gliding down these stairs like Audrey Hepburn, and Brad Pitt and Matt Damon are just like in awe of her, and she's just like wobbling down. I mean, they could have chosen any other kind of entrance. She could have been doing literally anything else and would have looked 100 times better. So that's the one moment where I'm just like, the hell?
Yeah, even if she had just come straight toward us, but that sideways part, I was almost yelling at the screen, "Stand up straight, bitch!"
Stop wobbling side to side.
Apparently, when they were doing the next scenes in the when they shot stuff in the restaurant, she took her shoes off because that walking down the stairs in the high heels like literally was hurting her feet. So she did a lot of this shots after the fact with no shoes on.
See her shoes. They should have just let her walk down in bare feet. Maybe she'd have done better.
I agree. I agree.
$20 million, bitch can learn how to walk in high heels. I'm just saying.
Witness for the defense. Have you seen those shoes? They are torture devices.
Well,
hey, you know what?
For high heels.
All of the rest of us can do it as long as
For the record, I can't.
Nor I.
I would say, speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
All of the rest of us cannot.
I don't know. Robert?
I fell down the last time I tried, so I just don't want to do it again.
Steven can work some nasty pumps when he wants to, but I have no ability at all.
Oh, fantastic. All right, Disney John, anything that doesn't work for you?
Yeah, okay, so I hate to mention it because it really is, this is really super nitpicky, but everybody who's listened to the podcast for the past 120 episodes that I've been part of it knows that I like a slightly faster paced movie. I thought this was, I'm talking like an eighth note slower than it should have been. Like I could have used a little more speed to get through the story. But when I watch it again, then it's like, maybe it doesn't, maybe it does. So you know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those things. It's just, it feels a little slower than it needs to be, but it's exactly paced the way that it should be.
What?
Does that make sense? I know
No.
it doesn't make sense, but it's
you
like
have no complaint is what you're saying.
kinda, but it's like it felt slow, but then I'm like, but if I took this out, that would have not made sense later. You know what I mean? Like everything that happened with the editing made this movie the way that it is, but the timings, but the whole length of the movie, I think, could have been tightened up a little bit, just a tiny bit.
Interesting. All right,
like an eighth note.
So you want to watch it on 1.5 speed?
1.25. 1.25.
All right, Liam.
I had to dig really, really deep, but I did find something.
All right.
At the end, they make a joke where Tess says, "We need to get Rusty a girl," and Rusty replies, "There's a women's prison just down the road." In New Jersey, the only women's prison is like 2.5 hours away from the prison they get Danny out of.
Well, it's not like we're going to know that.
That research could have been done better. Shame on you, Steven Soderbergh. This is an amazing movie. I had to find something.
Yeah, we have a joke in my family that something's just down the road. My wife told me once when we were living on the eastern shore of Virginia, oh, it's just down the road. And I'm driving for like 20 minutes going like, honey, how just down the road is this? She goes, oh, you got another 20 minutes to go. I'm like, that's not just down the road. That's down the road, sweetheart. So, it was just down the road is what I'm saying. It's within reasonable driving distance. He can still get a girl by the end of the day. Come on now.
True. All right. Mike, anything doesn't work for you?
I loved Don Cheadle, but I didn't like him having to have an accent.
I thought it was so funny.
I thought it was great.
That whole Barney Rubble thing, I think is hilarious.
What part of England is he supposed to be from? And then why is he a bomb expert from England when England, it just didn't, I didn't buy it. And it's not Don Cheadle's fault. I was just like, why was it written this way? Why did it have to be written this way?
He came up with
He
that.
actually came up with it. It wasn't written that way. He came up with it. He even spent time over in England learning the Cockney accent. So
he didn't have enough attention.
Watching Mary Poppins doesn't count. You don't learn anything from this.
See, I wanted to peg it as a Cockney accent, but I don't know enough about the British accents and whatnot. But I just, the whole time when he first opens his mouth, I was like, this isn't right. This just, I'm not buying it.
Maybe it's some kind of long con that we'll get in like Ocean's 14 or something,
Right, a bomb tech from England. It's just so.
It would be a great reveal, and the 20 years later they go back and the team gets back together. You've been faking the accent the whole time.
But yes, maybe that's his long game. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. All right. Robert, anything doesn't work for you?
For me, it wasn't the pace. I think, but I felt kind of the same thing John did. For me, the difference was the tone. The tone was really uneven. On the one hand, it's sort of this light, fun, fast-paced caper, but then a lot of the scenes with Clooney and Roberts are like super dramatic, like they came out of like Kramer versus Kramer or something, and it kind of popped the bubble of fun of the movie. I thought their first exchange that you mentioned, Dayton, it was just like X's, but it reminded me of like Nick and Nora from the Thin Man movies. It was this funny banter back and forth, even though she was dead serious. Just their timing, their spark, it still was light, but then there was some sort of just heavy scenes and stuff that just took me out of this kind of fun, fast-paced, leave your scrutiny at the door and just go for the ride thing, where they got dramatic where it wasn't necessary. And I thought maybe that's what John meant by pace as well, because those scenes did seem slower and just like they weren't necessary. I wanted to keep eating my popcorn and not have to sit and be worried about the inner lives of these people. That was not what I, paid my rental fee for in this case.
Yes, that's exactly it, Robert.
That was kind of it. Was just to me the tone was uneven, and it made it not land as well, especially in the back half.
That's exactly it.
Interesting. Okay.
Soderbergh's like indie drama school thing he usually did seeped into this a little bit, rather than the fun Hollywood frolics that we were hoping for.
Yeah.
For the majority
you don't
of the
like
film.
good writing? That's fine.
Hey, now.
You don't want to love
side.
cartoon
Back
script? That's
up.
fine.
All right. Tim, something doesn't work for you?
It's not something that doesn't work for me, but it's a scene that hurts me to watch.
Okay.
Because
that sounds like that doesn't work for you.
This is so niche for me. I have had various small phases over the years of being an RC fan. I've had an RC plane that I've flown, and some cars and things. And so watching that truck just get demolished by the Big Brother's truck just really hurts me to see, because I'm like, that was so much work, man. How could you just destroy
It's like
it
when I
like
see
that?
videos on the internet of people smashing Lego sets. I'm like,
You're right, exactly. It's just, no, please. I get it. Your brothers, you fight. We could have done something that didn't just hurt my soul. It's like watching musicians smash guitars on stage. I'm like, no.
Right? Yeah. So, all right. I get that. I gotta admit, I did not expect that from anybody. So thank you for that, Tim.
Wonderful.
All right. So I actually do have a few things that I've noticed that bother me. Nothing is a deal breaker, obviously, because I do love this film. So something minor. I think the title cards of each city are completely unnecessary. If you can't figure out from the visuals and the dialogue, literally, then you're either stupid or just not paying attention.
Ouch! You just called your audience stupid.
No, I said if you're watching this movie and you can't figure out that the L that they're walking under is ripped right from The Fugitive that takes place in Chicago, if you can't tell that he's in Las Vegas, if you can't tell that they're in New Jersey, you're not watching. It's just, dog racing in Florida. He looks like he's in Florida. It was kind of unnecessary, and I kind of felt like it's insulting to the viewer that you had to give us that information. Minor, no big deal. How in the hell did they get the duffel bags into the vault? Anybody?
In their pants.
I mean, they fold up.
So they folded up, how many? At least 8 to 10 duffel bags filled with flyers for hookers in what? And then I'm just saying.
Those.
Oh, you're talking. Okay, I thought you were just talking about the duffel.
In general,
bags.
they go down literally with what's on them.
Right.
And there's no room in there with yen, in that little cart. So where'd all the duffel bags come from? I'm just, like I said, it's one of those things that didn't occur to me for like the first few watchings. And I'm kind of like, they're like, oh, the bags are full of hookers for your flyers for hookers. And I'm like,
don't break my movie.
I'm not trying to break anything, but I'm just looking for help. They were.
I don't know. I feel like I gotta watch it again now.
Okay, please do, because I keep watching.
I know what you're talking about, because like I understand what you're saying. I don't know how they got in there with those, unless they were saying there were gear bags as they were walking in or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like as a SWAT walks in, they could be carrying their gear bags in and then carrying gear bags back out.
They were carrying like gear bags and junk, I feel like, when the SWAT team came in. So I feel like it was like, we come in with the hooker flyers, we leave them, and then we get...
I know, but who brought them in? I don't know. There's a part missing.
The SWAT team did, because if they
but they already came out. They came out before the SWAT team got there. That's my only thing. What
do you mean they came out before they got there?
The bags with the flyer hookers came out before the SWAT team got there. So how did those duffel bags get down there?
Blown up inside the thing. They came in with them because the SWAT team. So the SWAT team has to come in first, right? The fake SWAT team. They're coming in with their bags of gear. We got to go in with all this gear. Let's go. They go drop down. They've got gears. They've got stripper flyers in their bags.
But those already came out, and they're loaded into a van already. They already left before the SWAT team went down. That's my question.
It was magic.
Okay, I like that answer. Okay. The other thing is, like I said, is small. Right after the blackout, and Rusty's on the phone with Benedict saying, this is the guy that's robbing you. Just seconds before, the entire casino floor was madhouse. Now Rusty's walking through the thing, talking to him on the phone. Everything's fine. It's literally been 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm like, something doesn't time out. So just the little things. After you've watched it so many times, you start to notice these things. And unfortunately, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So I think
like I always say to you in moments like this, like, nobody cares.
Well,
but I do.
Well, if the montage of the 3 most successlike robberies in Las Vegas didn't clue you in, like, I think you're vastly underestimating the skill that is casino security. Like, they quiet a rat real fast down there.
I hope so.
Playground.
Well, see, that's it. Those are my 3. So I'm reaching out to our listeners. How do the duffel bags filled with hooker flyers get to the vault? That's all I'm wondering. So
it was one of their scams. Remember they mentioned all the scams in the first. We're gonna need like a bouncing Betty and a Jack and Jape and a whatever. I don't know. I don't remember.
That's a whole different movie, man. Just
I don't remember the names of the damn
Ella Fitzgerald ever.
Yeah,
Jim Brown, Boski.
It was the Ella Fitzgerald.
Anyway, all right.
They needed 2 of them.
That was Jethro's. 2 Jethros.
Okay, fine. 2 Jethros, whatever.
Leon Spinks.
Yeah, see, we'll get them all. Me and Liam will get them all.
I'm old. Apparently, I don't remember. Okay.
All right. Okay. Any other complaints, or did I just ruin everything? Probably.
You ruined my movie.
That's what I'm
That's
here
why
for.
Ocean's 8 is better. There are no flaws.
I'm sure I can
Exactly.
find some. Give me a chance.
Yeah, you need to watch it like 300 more times.
IMDb has about 25 goofs listed for this film on their thing. So if you want to like have your mind blown, your bags are mentioned here along with a whole bunch of other things, like the wrong amount of shrimp being in the shrimp cocktail out from one scene to the next because someone ate one. But
that was a piece of trivia I actually found, that he actually ended up eating 40 shrimp during that specific scene.
They had to reshoot it. Yep.
Yeah.
40 pieces of shrimp.
But unfortunately, I don't see on these bloopers any answers to the question of the mystery bag. So that's going to have to be one that our listeners will have to find for us.
It's unknowable.
There's a subreddit somewhere, I'm sure. There's a subreddit for everything.
Yeah, it's on the subreddit of unknowable.
Uncareable.
Subreddit of.
I don't care.
No,
Right? All right. Let's move on.
Why are you smiling like that?
I just like to smile. Smiling's my favorite.
Make work your favorite. That's your favorite, okay?
Okay.
Work is your new favorite.
Fine.
Time for Smiling's My Favorite. These are a couple of questions about some favorite things from the movie and elsewhere. So first of all, favorite character, Amber.
Rusty. I love Brad Pitt's deadpan delivery. His line readings are just great. And I love the food gag. I think that's hilarious.
I know, right? Even when he meets up with the dancer from the Crazy Horse 2, he still has a sucker. It's just like always something. Jeez, whatever. All right. Disney John.
Don Cheadle. He was, honestly, I really enjoyed his role.
Basher. Love it. All right. Liam.
I gotta. It's Team Lewis. United over here. I gotta go with Rusty. I really enjoy him being like George Clooney recruits a couple of people, but I love that it's mostly Brad Pitt's character being the Nick Fury assembling the Avengers of thievery for this. I love the whole thing with Carl Reiner where he just whispers inaudibly the score and Carl Reiner's just like, look at
and instantly the ulcer pops up again. It's like, all right, yeah, love it.
And then I love him training Matt Damon. It has one of my favorite moments after he gives him all this stuff to remember. And for God's sakes, whatever you do, don't under any circumstances. Hey Rusty, can you come look at this? Oh yeah, sure. And
the look on Damon's face is great. He's just like terrified. Wait, what? I love it. All right. All right, Mike.
I like the two elder actors characters, both Ruben and Saul. I just they contributed perfectly. They weren't but if they weren't there, it wouldn't have worked. And if they were too forward in the movie, it wouldn't have worked. So it just integrated so well. And I like both of them. I like both actors. I was glad to see them kind of getting exposure in the twilight of both of their careers.
Agreed. All right, fantastic. Tim.
I got to go with Linus, Matt Damon.
Okay,
good choice.
Yeah,
nice.
I love that there's this kind of confusion about him all the way through. Like he's got his skills, he's good at what he does, but every interaction he has with the rest of the cast, there's almost a, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? Why am I letting these guys shit on me?
Because he's the rookie.
Right?
Docu Bay podcast. That's me listening to Tim break down the saga of recording that Van Halen album. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but it all sounds amazing.
Oh, good one. All right, Robert.
I'm going to agree with Michael on this one. I thought Elliot Gould and Carl Reiner were both fantastic.
Yeah.
Great comic relief. And I have to say, especially with Saul in his disguise, when he started to look like he was becoming sick, I was buying it. I was
Yes.
like, is this
100%.
gonna be? I mean, these kind of movies always have the little fake outs for the audience and the little switches and things like that. But this was one I was like, I was certain he was going to drop dead, and I was like, how are they going to salvage this plot with him dead? And then that took me by surprise. But both of them are great. They were over the top, but they were just fantastic.
All right.
And to that, Robert, I think, in the first one, they did have one of the characters die. So if you're watching the second one and you're wondering if Saul's dying because in the original Ocean's 11, one of the guys died walking across the street after the heist. So there was that. I was like the same as you. I was like, is he going to live? Is he going to die? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that drama that was being played out.
Very good. So, all right. Well, I took the easy answer, and of course, it's Danny Ocean. Like I said earlier, if I had the money and the physique, I would have totally dressed like him. But he's cool, he's smart, he's charming, he's handsome, and he's the brains. But he needs Rusty to complete the quest or whatever their job. But he was in jail thinking about this plan the entire time. So I think that's great, and he's just friggin' cool. So Danny Ocean's my answer. So.
You got to represent for the Cincinnati boys there.
Yeah.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
The local here,
Yeah.
local boys. Yeah, there you go.
Local boy makes good.
All right. So this one was your favorite role from any of the actors in this particular film. So, all right, Amber, who was the actor and what's your favorite role?
George Clooney and Michael Clayton.
Nice. That's a good one.
The best thing he's ever done.
Well, that's a good one.
Nice. Very good. All right. All right, Disney John.
Brad Pitt. I had it down to 2. Sorry, I could only get it down to 2. Beetlejuice, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Interesting. All right. That I didn't expect. All right.
You don't know what they are?
Huh?
We haven't seen the sequel to Beetlejuice yet, so.
Amazing. Watch it.
Okay.
Shut it. You're wrong. I'm right.
We'll discuss later. All right.
Coming in October, the
Beetlejuice
SmackDown fight.
All right. Liam, your favorite who's the actor and the film role?
I Am My Mother's Son. I'm going to cheat. I don't believe in no-win scenarios. I gotta give a shout out to Brad Pitt's performance as Lieutenant Aldo Rain in Inglourious Bastards.
Nice
he is
choice.
One of the most hardcore action heroes I've ever seen, and his speech about making sure that Nazis can't ever hide from society that they were once Nazis gets me through life a lot these days.
I understand that.
But my real pick is George Clooney. He's always cool, calm, collected, in control, George Clooney. So my favorite role of his is one of my favorite Coen Brothers movies, Hail Caesar, where he plays this complete, utter buffoon of an actor, Baird Whitlock, who is kidnapped and then gets almost converted to communism. Like, it is just, and then at the end of the film, he tries to talk up some of the points he's learned from these guys, and Josh Brolin just slaps him repeatedly until he stops talking. It's one of my favorite movies, and I love George Clooney in this role that is just so unlike him. It's brilliant.
Interesting. All right, Mike.
So I originally, going through the outline, I didn't quite get the question on this one, but having heard everybody's answers, I was like, it clicked. I was like, so I'm a huge Fight Club fan. I that's a movie that I can put in and watch
Right.
and watch back to back. So obviously Brad Pitt, his role in Fight Club was just, it wouldn't have worked without him. So
No,
that's my pick.
Tyler Durden is a great character.
Ear. Why in the ear?
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. Well, Tim.
Now, if we were asking my wife this question, the answer would be Brad Pitt in Legends of the Fall. But my pick is going to be Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting.
Nice.
Very good.
Great pick. Great pick. So I actually have I chose 4 actors and I'm doing 4 roles. So
Oh
George
my God, cheater.
it's my fucking podcast. No.
Okay, fine. Go ahead. God, he pulls that out all the time.
Getting
That's
like
my
a pick for
podcast.
every
I could
50
have one
episodes.
for each actor.
I have 4. We'll come back to you, Amber. Clooney as Jack Foley in Out of Sight. Brad Pitt
Nice.
as Floyd in True Romance.
Yep.
Julia Roberts as Aaron Brockovich. And Matt Damon as Jason Bourne.
Oh, all very good.
Very
I'm
nice.
sorry. You win.
All right, thank you. All right, Robert, who's your actor and what role?
I went immediately to Clooney as Frank Walker in Tomorrowland, which we have talked about on this show before.
Oh, yeah.
And
I forgot about that.
weirdly, I see that it came out 10 years ago today.
Oh, wow.
Yay!
Yeah, so from recording today, not listening today, for those of you out there. A close second though, because this was such a tough question, because these actors are all so great, because they do indie films, they do big budget films, they do tent poles, they do everything. But I really, really liked Matt Damon as Tom Ripley in The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh, yeah.
It was the first movie I saw him in where he wasn't just kind of the cute young college kid, and I was like, oh, this guy can act. He's really interesting. And so those would be my 2.
So I don't know if this counts as a Broadway reference, but Good Night and Good Luck from George Clooney is actually running is a stage play now. So
Yes,
I think it's actually running on Broadway. Am I right or am I wrong?
It is.
Yeah, and on June 7th, it's going to be broadcast live on CNN.
There you go. See, look, Robert, I made a Broadway reference.
Bravo! It only took 200 episodes. But
Oh
we got
my!
you there. I
We're
was
winning
playing the
him
long
over
con.
one movie at a time.
Yeah, it was my long con to get him to do that. Weirdly, George is not playing the same character he played in the film version. He's playing. I think he's playing Edward Murrow this time, not the younger guy, because it was 20 years ago.
Right.
But anyway.
Still
Well, and
great
also
job.
the other guy just like sits under the desk and like feeds him
Right.
papers and stuff. Like, he's just producing. He's not saying all the truth.
All right. So this next question provided a lot of questions earlier today in the chat. So your favorite remake of a previous film. So I'm gonna let Amber go first, because apparently last I heard she had 4.
I did, but I narrowed it down to 1. Do you want all 4 or you want
Go ahead.
the 1?
I'll hear all 4.
Let's hear them.
All righty. Well, the number 1 for me is the Kenneth Branagh live action Cinderella.
Okay. It's very good.
Absolutely
It is very good.
love that movie.
It's a movie.
The Father of the Bride remake.
Oh, damn it. That was mine too. Baby, that was a great one.
Yes. And The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. Like, that movie's adorable. But then the best remake, and that was going to be my argument, is the 1999 Mummy.
Amen.
All right, with Brendan Fraser. Like, that is, I love the
Amazing.
original, but that movie, like,
It's
freaking is all the things.
Uh-oh. Tim is hating us right
I
now.
think I took everybody's list.
No, you didn't hit any of mine, so we're good.
You took one of mine. That's
Curse you, Amber. Curse you.
None of mine either. So
I can't help it. I'm just too good.
Everybody get
Or
back.
greedy.
It's Amber's ego.
all. Watch out, greedy ego.
All right, Disney John.
Mine is the Lost in Space series from Netflix, the remake from the original movie. People, I until we talk about this on the podcast, I will bring it up as often as I can. It is amazing. I mean, it is a stunning revisualization of the original movie. It is absolutely a must see in like, gotta go see it. Go watch it.
Okay, I'll
Parker
allow it.
Posey is the most amazing actress in the entire show.
Well, okay. All right, Mike.
I went back and forth between Cape Fear and The Fly.
All right.
I'm going to throw Cape
Cape
Fear out
Forgotten
there.
Cape Fear was a remake.
Oh yeah, yeah, and Robert De Niro, his character, him playing. I hated that guy. God, he made
gross.
Yes, just oh my God, it's like he would rub you and MRSA would come off. I mean, it was just like oh my God, he was such a slimy, nasty character. It's like ugh, I wouldn't want him to touch me.
You got to clean off the TV after you watch the movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
Get some Windex on there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Virus killer spray or something, man. Because oh god, yeah. Purell, all over that. Yeah, but yeah, the Cape Fear came out to be my favorite remake.
All right, very good. All right, Liam.
I'll let Tim piggyback on the 1999 Mummy. I'm gonna shout out John Carpenter's version of The Thing.
All right, very good.
And possibly the best adaptation with the best Long John Silver, Muppet Treasure Island, baby. I will never stop talking about Muppet Treasure Island and Tim Curry in the role he was born to play.
So, my wife and I just
She's
rewatched
amazing.
that. We just rewatched Muppet Treasure Island for the first time in a while, and I hate to say it, I don't like it as much as I remembered I liked it. So it's
Well,
quite.
that's because you're a thief of joy and you don't understand the magic of Tim Curry singing in his fabulous operatic voice about the joys of being a pirate.
I mean, he likes Muppets from Space, so we don't really take
from space, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, I
You're the
do.
one guy.
Yeah, I am the one guy, Liam.
It's the only reason we got the ratings it did.
Who knew?
We'll have a discussion about Muppet Treasure Island another time, I promise.
And why you're wrong.
Oh,
all right, where's that mute button? There it is.
Burn this
There it
podcast to the ground.
All right, Tim, did they take your thunder?
A little bit, yeah, because my pick was The Mummy, but I'm now kicking myself for having forgotten that both Cape Fear and The Thing were remakes, the versions that I like.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever actually seen the original of either one of those.
Oh, they're both very good.
The original,
Yeah.
no choice, but something about Kurt Russell just sitting in that snow.
Yes.
Ugh.
All right, Robert.
I love remakes. As a old film buff, anytime I see a movie, I usually like to circle around and watch all the versions of it, just because it's kind of how I do things. So I had to start ruling stuff out because there's a lot of remakes I like. I ruled out things like Little Shop of Horrors, the musical in Chicago, the musical, because they were based on film, but there was a step along the way that I kicked them out. Weird you all mentioned like The Thing and The Fly. We had such a good run there in the 90s. Like we had Invasion of the Body Snatchers as well. So many of those sci-fi movies that were so much better in the remakes, but I kicked those all out because that was mainly, I feel, really effects driven. All of a sudden our special effects were there at the level they weren't in the 1950s. Bump those out. I talked about Gaslight and The Adventures of Robin Hood, both on this show. They're both remakes, so I ruled them out. So I'm going with The Maltese Falcon.
Ooh,
nice. Okay.
Film. And most people are not even aware it is a remake. In fact, it was the third version of the film. The first one was made in 1931. They were going to re-release it, Warner Brothers was, but by then the Hays Code had come around, so the movie was really risque. It's still kind of shocking to watch today. The Bogart character does a strip search of one of the women, and it's interesting. Very, very pre-code. But then there also was a 1936 version with Betty Davis that was a comedy. Go figure. But but by 1941 they got it right, and it ended up being one of the classic films. So Maltese Falcon is my favorite remake.
Nice pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say I had no idea that was a remake. Very good.
Yeah, me either.
So when I came down to this answer, I realized that we've actually discussed quite a few remakes on the podcast. Recently, we did Dread, we did War of the Worlds, Little Women, which of course has been remade multiple times. On our District 9 episode, I mentioned the reboot of the Planet of the Apes films. So, and to John's point, Netflix with Lost in Space, Ronald Moore with Battlestar Galactica.
Yep.
There are both shows and movies where they can prove that you can remake or reboot and do a good job. Now, so I went through our collection of films and I actually picked one that was surprising and gets a lot of hate. So it's going to be unpopular opinion that I really don't give a damn.
Oh, I want to hear it.
So I actually really enjoy Tim Burton's remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Yes,
I love it.
Johnny Depp, what he did with Willy Wonka is just completely creepy on a whole different kind of
Yes.
level, you know.
No.
And I think they did a really good job with that film. And yes, I love the original. I really do. But there's so much more creativity in this one, and it's such a Tim Burton film, just from beginning to end.
Well,
So
and it's it sticks to the book. Like the
Right.
songs are right out of the book.
Well,
And
as for Roald Dahl, like they're kid stories, but like all the best kid stories, they're creepy as hell. And I like that we're acknowledging this. Like scare the kiddos for a little bit.
No, I thought it was a great adaptation, like it was actually a reimagining of what the book should be from what the actual 1950s, 60s movie
70s.
was.
70s.
I can't remember when it was made, but I mean, it was all happy hunky dory, and then this one came along. I was like, no, this is the movie I wanted to watch. Like this is creepy, good. No, I'm on your side, sir. That was a great remake.
When I see when I read the book, I'll tell you that for free.
I just love when all the little small world things catch on fire.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's Tim Burton's love for the movie House of Wax coming through. He
There
did,
you go.
To that
Love
for
it.
TV one time, and about how he loves wax figures melting. So that's what that is.
That's just
Give me
creepy.
Gene Wilder any day.
Yes.
You're not
but
wrong.
It's just Gene Wilder in that movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
And that's all I need, really.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. So back to Ocean's 11. We're going to go ahead and give this a rating 1 to 5 film reels. So, Amber.
5.
Wow.
That was easy
fast.
enough.
5. Done.
All right. Disney John.
I'm giving it 3.5.
What?
Coward.
Wow.
Jesus.
No, I would say that I'm braver than any of you fuckholes.
Damn!
3.5, baby. That's where it's at. It is no
God.
Rogue One.
Oh,
That's my
jeez.
5 star. That's my 5 star.
You
Keep
sound like my
going.
dad. He used to always say, like, well, it wasn't Jaws, so
Like, sorry,
that's
it
a
wasn't
3.
the greatest movie ever invented by man. Like Jesus.
All right. Liam.
5 stars. 5 film reels.
Yeah.
All right.
Brave. Be brave.
Yeah.
Mike.
Be correct.
So again, because I had to watch it just for reference, the first one I give a 3, and I'm going to give the remake a 4.5.
All right. Very good. All right, Robert.
I'm going to give it a solid 4. It was fun, but it didn't
All right.
change my life.
All right, Tim.
In homage to our partner who's not here tonight, Mr. Brock, I'm going to give it a 4.87.
Fantastic.
Oh my God.
Work that decimal point, Tim.
So for me, it's a 4.5 because apart from the things I mentioned, this movie is just so much fun and it brings me such joy. And so for the few things I noticed, I'll take a half a point away. So that is my rating for Ocean's 11. So I'm exhausted, been laughing a lot, and it's because of all the people that are on this episode with me. So it's been awesome. So thank you, Amber.
Thank you. Love you, buddy.
Thank you, Disney John.
My pleasure as always.
Thank you, Liam.
Hey, anytime, anywhere, brother.
Thank you, Mike.
I hope to be here for 3, 4, and 500 episodes.
Oh, jeez.
He needs
Well,
that.
there's your
Dayton just
hot
sounded
take right there.
exhausted.
Hey.
Caffeine. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. And again, looking forward to more episodes.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you for having me once again, and congratulations on 200 episodes, sir.
All right. I think we could do 200 more. We'll have to
We
plan.
can.
We
We're
can.
going to do it. I'm going to tie you down. We're going to make sure it happens.
Don't tell people that you tie me down. That
I'm
just gives
sorry.
them the wrong message. Anyway,
Sorry.
that's just between us,
Not
John.
that kind
Okay.
of show, boys.
What you
I'm
do
sorry.
is
That's a
your
private.
business,
That's a private
guys.
moment.
That's our OnlyFans page. Never mind.
I
Okay.
was going to say, that's the only fan.
Subscribe to our Patreon for special content.
There's a special tier.
That is the $100 tier. Okay.
That's the
Anyway.
eyes wide shut tier.
$100 tier, you get to tie Dayton down.
I just pictured Dayton delivering the mail and getting tied down at the residence. That's just a whole different.
Yeah, and
I'll
the
write
name.
that plot out. That's got a whole different movie genre right
The
there.
postman always. Wait, no, I'm not going to say that joke.
Well, he's on his feet all day. He needs an activity where he can just lie down, not move.
This took a hard turn. I don't even know where to go now.
Almost escaped.
I think we broke John. Oh, okay. Anyway.
Hey, you've got editing abilities, right?
Well, I'm leaving all that in. Are you talking about it, John?
That's gold.
Content, buddy. That's how we keep the people coming back.
Yeah.
Muted.
I want to thank all of our listeners for coming around, spending time with us, and putting up with our shenanigans. So
I don't know why.
Do us a favor, rate and review the podcast and share the podcast with your family and friends. And we do not have $100 tier on our Patreon, but for not yet anyway. For as little as $1 a month, you can get some exclusive content over there and help support the podcast. Okay. Upcoming episodes, some highlights from the rest of the year. July, we returned to our Disney Through the Decades episode, going through the 80s up to the 2020s, if I remember right. I lost track.
Something
and you
like
still have time to vote on our pick for the 2020 film. We have a bunch of music episodes in August from artists Iron Maiden, Rush, The Beatles, and Dream Theater. September is Universal Monster Month with hosts Robert and John. October, Zombie Movie Month. And we end the year with a book review from Disney John, a podcast friend pick from the film buys Jeff Johnson, a Christmas movie episode, and a whole bunch of top 7 episodes. So, do yourself a favor, watch more movies, and remember, physical media is better than streaming.
Always.
The Docking Bay 77 podcast is produced and edited by Dayton Johnson, recorded with Rode Pod mics, the Zoom PodTrack P4, and edited on Audacity. Opening music provided by Eric Jason Brock. You can find him on YouTube and Bandcamp. Thank you for listening. I need a nap.
That was fun. Oh my God. I lost
That's
that.
why there's 200 episodes, guys. This is
Amen.
a blast.
Oh, that was so great.
Oh my God.
Not many of them, but I do have them.